Welcome everybody. This is going to be a rare discussion video where I'm going to be going over the proposed changes for the new Armor Rework. For those who don't know, the next major Gamma update is going to rework almost every single armor in the game and completely changing it based on what Grok has said so far. Now, the recording that you're about to see was streamed live on both YouTube and Twitch, as this is going to be an open discussion with me, my community, and anyone who happens to join. First of all, armors now have 4 types of main material: fabric, polymer, ceramic, and metal. This gives Grok a clear definition of which armors should have which kind of defense profiles. Some unique or in-game armors have multiple main materials and thus culminate the bonuses and malices. Now, down below, he does have a table, which we're about to look at in a second. Second of all armors have been given an armor module attribute. Think Sunrise, NBC, STC, etc. Each model armor will have a specific defense value depending on their main material. Some armors are unique, like the Ace, for instance, while others are common within different factions, like the medium Siva armors. Third, the base stats of all armors are further modified based on the faction-specific modifiers. For instance, all duty armors have a bonus rupture resistance, fire resistance, and a small buff to movement speed, but decreased psi and gravity resistance. Meanwhile, Sin armors get +2 artifact slots, but a massive debuff to mutant resistance, carry weight, and speed. Applying the faction bonus values to each kind of armor gives the final defense values: speed, weight, carry weight, number of artifacts, etc. Now, the next major thing is BR class system will be completely reworked. Most BR class values will be increased while having a less binary system. We're going to go over it in a second because he has attached an image that goes over the main changes he wants to make. And also, pelt will be reworked to provide some cap resistance, which is really nice if you don't want to get artifacts. All right, now here's the huge chart that Grok made. Now, it's not completely finished. There are some things here, like, for example, designs are missing and descriptions are missing on some, but we're going to be going over what is currently available. But here are the goals: make each faction armor different from one another using base armor model stat multiplier. And secondly, make each armor model different and specialized compared to one another. For example, Siva versus NPC versus Sunrise. He wants faction-specific buffs. Each faction has a bonus and malices to their various armor stats. So for example, if NPC suit by default has a 15% ballistic resistance, the duty one will have a +20 from that base, while a bandit might have a -10% from that base. So the duty one will have a total of 18% ballistic resistance, while the bandit will only have 13%. Now, as we mentioned, armor is going to compose of different materials and properties, which will affect their stats. Now, here's one of the major changes. There is a new BRC system. As you can see, BRC stands for Bullet Resistance Class, and BR is just your bullet resistance. Bullet Resistance Class system will be overhauled. Most armors will have a higher BRC now, but the BRC will protect less than in the current Gamma implementation. Now, for an example, if a bullet does not penetrate the armor, the BR is replaced by the BRC. While if it does penetrate the armor, the BR is used instead. So in this example right here, the player is wearing an armor that gives him 32% ballistic resistance, and he has a 50 bullet resistance class. Now, if the player is shot by 5.56 FMJ, but the bullet does not penetrate, then the armor provides 50% bullet resistance. Compare that to if the player was shot by AP and the bullet does penetrate, it only provides 32%. Now, according to Grok, this system will be less binary and will remain relevant for longer while still providing a meaningful difference in the beginning. All right, well, that was the end of the pre-recorded session, so time to go to the stream. But all right, let's start with the 4 main materials. So there's fabric, polymer, ceramic, and metal. And as you can see, each of them has a positive and a negative. So for example, metal is crap radiation, crap chemical, crap electricity, crap fire, good psi, crap gravity, good explosive, good mutant, really good ballistic, and really good bullet resistance class. Sorry, forgot it changed. And the speed is really negative, which I am gonna really be curious about this, if armors are getting slower or not. Now, I do actually have my game open in the background so we can compare with the current system for these new armors. Yeah, it doesn't seem like artifacts or carry weight are affected by what the main material is. Obviously, the weight of the armor itself is affected, but that's interesting. One of the main things Grok wanted to do with this update, obviously, was to make the armors more special per faction. So, for example, as you can see, loners get +20% radiation, +20% gravity, 10% on the mutant, but has worse ballistic, worse BRC. They do get an extra artifact and more carry weight, and the armor itself weighs less. So you see each faction has a different kind of bonuses and negatives. Yeah, so military just straight up hate freaking anomalies, dude. -20% for almost every type of anomaly thing, -10% to gravity, and they're only good for like mutant, ballistic, BRC, explosive. Oh, they're also shit at artifacts too. -1, -4% speed. Dude, military are getting screwed on this one. +20% weight. Holy crap, dude. The military suits are like, I mean, yeah, it has like the highest freaking ballistic and BRC, but dude, you are getting screwed by everything else. Yeah, military armor is literally only for raiding bases, it seems like. While ecologists, on the other hand, obviously they have the worst BRC and the worst ballistic, but +20% to every freaking anomaly related thing, which is really nice, and another artifact, and -20% weight. Grok also mentioned somewhere that the new Nim system, you should swap your armor more like before a big fight, you take a fighter armor and then swap it back. Oh, so Grok intends for you to have 2 different armors on you at a time. You have one that's meant for like big combat and one that's just meant for getting around the zone and doing basic quests, I'm guessing. By the way, if you hear any sneezes in the background, my cats are still really sick. We're giving them medicine right now, but I'm probably going to have to bring some others to the vet because he couldn't give us enough medicine for all the cats. He needs to at least see some of them. So, yeah, I will probably be having to bring more to the vet soon. Mercenaries are particularly bad with radiation. So are Monolith, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, overall, you can see this entire chart right here. ISG, minus 40% gravity, plus 20% to the BRC. Wait, why don't they get a little bit more ballistic? That's interesting. And negative 2% speed additive, plus 40% weight. Okay, that must be... I feel like he's doing this specifically because of the ISG, like, Nosrog or something, right? Like, why that big of a difference? Yeah, what does Bandit look like? Minus 10% radiation, minus 20% BRC, but they're faster. Oh, they have more carry weight, and their armor weighs less. Okay, so he's wanting you to use Bandit armor for, like, getting around, really, but you're risking it by the fact that if you get shot, you have such a lower BRC that you might actually die. Yeah, scrolling down here, we can start seeing the armor model, like what it is specifically, the main material, radiation, chemical, blah, 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 you get it. Now, Grok doesn't have a description and design for all of these, but he does have it for some of them, so we can at least look at Grok's thought process here. So here we have the jacket, which has higher radiation chemical. It's basically plus to all of these, 8 BRC, so quite low, plus 1 ballistic, which makes sense. 1 artifact and a 105 speed, so fast. Basic leather textile jacket offers basic protections, if any, very simple to maintain, and ship protections and carry weight is the design. That makes sense. I think I'm just going to go through all these descriptions and designs real quick, and then we can kind of move on to talking about the individual armors themselves. So let's talk about the overcoat. A leather overcoat, heavy and sturdy. It offers basic protections against the zone's dangers, very simple to maintain. Better protection than the jacket, much heavier, higher mutant protection than the jacket, okay. And now we're on to the first metal material right over here, which is the military suit. A lightweight polymer fabric armor used by militaries around the world, issued by the Ukrainian government, protects the wearer decently while being easy to maintain. More lightweight than overcoat, specialized for ballistic protection. Wait, he says a lightweight polymer. Huh? Wait a second. He says a lightweight polymer in fabric. What do you mean polymer? It says metal right there. Excuse me? Now the CS1 suit, which is ceramic right over here, he's changed it from a light armor to a field armor. A lightweight armor specially issued by the Clear Sky faction offers basic protections against certain anomalies while remaining easy to maintain. And now it's really easy to maintain since it's a field armor. In other words, instead of using a light armor kit, all you need is a field armor kit. Same weight as the military service armor, more carry weight, more rad, anomalous resistance, little mutant protection, better at ballistic than the overcoat. Now, the rest of these he doesn't exactly have descriptions for, but he does have what they are specifically needed for, or like what his intentions are with them. So, for example, the LC suit, which is the Bandit supposedly metal suit over here, specialized for ballistic resistance. Got the CS2 over here, which is a mix between ballistic and anomaly resistance. The NBC Bandit suit, which is specialized for carry weight, rapid resistance with a decent ballistic resistance, poor mutant resistance, and high movement speed. Yeah, it's got a 106% movement speed on that one. Ooh, then we got the Voyager suit, which is fabric over here. He's made that a light armor instead of a medium, and it says artifacts and carry weight armor. It also has 108% movement speed. Does it normally? I don't think so. That has to be up, right? And the last two that he wrote descriptions for, which is the STS for the mercenaries and Predator for the loners. Loners, best light armor with good ballistic and mutant resistance and artifact slots. Okay, so he is considering this to be the best light armor. And then the STS, BR class special boost, high movement speed. High movement speed, wait. High movement speed. It's 98% movement speed, yeah. It does have good ballistic, 13%. It has the exact same as the other suit above it, the Predator suit. Yeah, high movement speed compared to others in their class. I guess so, because... No, wait, no, that still wouldn't make sense, because all of these are light. 95, 98, 106, 108, 103, and then 98. So no, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm a bit confused about that. Yeah, I guess it's the highest speed with the highest ballistic resistance, so I guess that kind of makes sense, but I'm still a little bit confused about that. I feel like the movement speed is changing a lot. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. I do have the game open, so we're going to swap to that in a moment. But I'm pretty sure the trench coat didn't originally have 102% movement speed, but we can check that. The Stalker suit has turned into the Sunrise suit. Okay. Oh, it has 97% movement speed. So yeah, the movement speed on a lot of these suits are changing, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, if you have something that is very good, you want to nerf it in some ways. But I also feel like movement speed feels so slow already in Gamma with some of the like 95%, 6% type things. Not to mention, as soon as you get shot once in the leg, even if it is literally a percentage of damage, you are suddenly so much slower. Wait, let me look at the Nosrog. Like, what did he do to the Nosrog? So metal plus ceramic plus exo. Okay. And this still, wait, 4 to 5. Yeah. Okay. So that makes sense. Wait, no, 4 to 5. There's no more 6. Scat exo. Wait, it was a heavy and then it became an exosuit. Okay. Am I like losing my mind over here? I don't remember when was there a scat exo? Am I losing my mind, guys? Or do I just like never see this in my playthroughs? Like, I do not believe I've ever seen this before. Am I actually losing my mind? Scat exo is military only, I think. Okay, then that might be why I've never seen it, because I thought, I was like thinking to myself, what in the world is this exo? I think the thing that's going to annoy me the most is, as I mentioned earlier, movement speed. I feel like depending on some of these values, some of these suits might be, oh no, the suit that I love using the most, the freaking hybrid over here. Guess what? 5% minus movement speed, 95% instead. 3 to 5 artifact slots still, okay, or 3 to 5 artifact slot, that's cool. 48 BRC, 34. So honestly, the freaking hybrid still looks pretty good. I just, the minus 5%, that kind of hurts. So wait. Let's look at the ace real quick, okay? So the ace is 44 BRC with a 29% bullet resistance and 99. Why 99% movement speed? Why not just leave it at 100? Okay, so let's go ahead and swap in game real quick, because I want to check some of this stuff out and compare it to how it is currently. And keep in mind, I'm assuming that all these armor values are at their base armor. So I'm assuming all of these will be upgradable. This is just what the base armor looks like. All right, so we're in game real quick, and I'm just going to immediately spawn in the ace suit because I want to compare. I really don't want to share my entire desktop display, so I'm just going to tell you the differences right now. So I'm comparing them. So the ballistic resistance is actually going up slightly. So currently it's 20%. It's now going to be 29%. And the BR class is actually going to go down by 4. So instead of being 48, it's going to be 44. Oh, and it looks like the burn resistance and electrical and everything does appear to be going down. Now, this has 3 belt slots, and how many can we put on it max right now? We can put 5. So that's going to remain the same. Wait, sorry, I'm wrong. Hold on. This can only have 5 currently, but the new one is going to be able to have 6. Whoa. So the ace suit is really rare. Most people do not see this suit in a single playthrough. I have not seen this suit in multiple playthroughs, but if you manage to get it, it can have 6 artifact slots while having some insane ballistic resistance and BR class. This armor is going to be the freaking unicorn that, if you find it, is like basically the best armor you can use until late game. The issue is that the only consistent way to get the mercenary ace suit is honestly to just spam mercenary lost signals until you finally loot one off of a dead body, or you find someone in game that's a mercenary that has the suit and you just kill them and hope that you get it. Now, as you can see, the movement speed is 100% currently, but it's going to go down to 99%. Honestly, 1% movement speed minus for that many benefits is a bit insane. All right, let me compare the hybrid real quick because I want to see about this. What changes ballistic and BR? Oh, the ballistic resistance will be going up. So currently, it's 25% and 48%. It is now going to become 34% and 48%. So we're actually getting a 9% increase for the ballistic resistance on the hybrid armored suit, which is really nice. However, we are losing 5% movement speed for that. So it depends if you're gonna, if you think that is worth it or not. I personally have always been annoyed by slower movement speed armors, which sucks a lot because this is one of my favorite armors. But, I guess you got to deal with whatever Grok gives you, right? Okay, so some of these armors appear to be getting way buffed. For example, the scat here has 29% ballistic resistance and 45 BR class. It is now going to become 37% by default and 55 BR class. So it's getting 10 more BR class and it's getting more ballistic resistance. However, let me see something real quick. It says only 2 artifacts. Can this have more artifacts? The answer is yes. So instead of being able to have 3 artifacts, it's only going to be able to have 2. So that is the negative, including the negative 5% move speed. Or sorry, negative 3% movement speed. All right, so let me compare this since you said it's getting ruined. Let's see. So let us check the... Okay, so yeah. Oh, well, no. Okay, so the Wastelander is getting worse. It is getting 3% more ballistic resistance. However, the BR class is dropping by a total of 6, which is kind of insane because, as he said, the BR class is going to matter a lot less. So when you get shot, the Wastelander is definitely you're gonna take more damage. The belt slots is going to be 4, and this currently has 4. However, yes, you can make it 5. So we are you losing another belt slot. And I guess the bonus that we get is it gets 2% more movement speed. What other suits do you want to look at? Because I'm trying to think of suits that I like using that I want to mess with. Actually, really quickly, let me compare the CS2 because I feel like I used to get the CS2 very, very often early game. Whoa, okay, that is interesting. So, no way, it's losing 1% ballistic resistance, and it's also losing freaking, oh my god, 7 BR class, hold on. And the movement speed is going down to 98%. This doesn't seem right, and it can only have 2 artifacts instead of 3. What is balancing this armor out? I mean, it has higher resistances to anomalies and stuff, but damn, that like really sucks for the CS2 now. So the one thing I'm confused about is he made it seem like he really wants early game armor to be better. So let me compare some early game armor. For example, let's just do a CS1 suit. Let's say we're starting as a ecologist real quick. Let's compare. It basically changed not at all. It's actually going down 1 BR class. And since BR class isn't going to matter as much and you're going to take more damage, that... I don't know, man. Some of this doesn't... I mean, yeah, it has higher, like, burn resistance and electric resistance. Or, no, the electric resistance is the same. Yeah, this is a bit weird. Because, yeah, one of the things that I'm confused about right now is if it is an armor that is specific to one faction and one faction only, do they still receive these faction buffs? So, for example, the Clear Sky armor we were looking at earlier, obviously, it's only for Clear Sky. So does it get these bonuses added on to them afterwards? Or I don't think anomaly resistance is anything useful. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that because I don't... So maybe for newer players, it makes more sense. You know, you're not used to anomalies. You run into them a lot or you accidentally run into chemical and stuff like that, right? But for the most part, I feel like most people just kind of, you know, get assigned to suit if they really want the resistances for anomalies. So I'm not sure how this really helps stuff. So for example, if you pick up an armor that is of multiple factions and you just so happen to pick up the Clear Sky armor, it's basically useless for a majority of players, right? Because you don't care about the chemical, the electricity, the fire resistance, right? Like, yeah, the radiation is nice, but you don't care about that. What you care about is you're going to die to mutants and bullets a lot easier. So to me, this makes it to where any Clear Sky faction armor does not make sense to use versus like, oh, you know, I picked up some other one, all right? Like at this point, I don't know. So, like, to me, the military is almost one of the best ones because even though it does have -1% or -1 artifact, like, you do get 20% more ballistic, 10% more BRC, right? Wait, Renegade? Wait. Renegade gets 10% mutant, 10% ballistic, and 10% BRC and only -1 artifact. Is that because there's not a ton of Renegade armors? Because that seems weird. Why do they get 10% for freaking mutant, ballistic, and BRC? So as far as I know, Grok did not specifically say why he wanted to reduce like the way BRC works. All he put was most armors will have a higher BRC, but the BRC will protect less than the current Gamma implementation. So, you know, even if the armor has the exact same BRC, it's going to be less effective once this new update comes out. A necessary update in my opinion? Okay, so here's the thing. I do agree that there needs to be an armor rebalance in the game, period, because currently all the armors are kind of like, especially early game, it really doesn't matter. And then if you can get a hybrid, most people just use that with some artifacts and roll with it. If you get a Merc Ace, you know, you're set for a very long time. You typically will want to grind for some type of Nosarog. Even if you can't get an ISG one, you would get a Monolith one pretty easily with all the Monolith you kill, right? You kind of tend to stick to about the same armors for the most part. So I do see where he's coming from with wanting you to use different armors and wanting to use different ones for each faction, you know, based on their bonuses and everything. But I just don't see the point of some of the factions, right? Like, when would I rather pick up a Clear Sky suit versus any other suit? Like, to me, this doesn't make sense. I mean, this is the reason I wanted to do this stream, so I could get people's opinions and like how they feel about this. Same thing with like after I post these videos, the comments. I also want to hear down below what everyone's opinions are on like why they think this needs to be changed or this, that, and the other. Because as I mentioned, I do truly think that there needed to be some change to do with armors. I'm just not sure exactly how some of this works completely. Now, obviously, all of this is subject to change. You know, I'm assuming the armor rework is nowhere near finished. Grok did just come back to modding not too long ago. So this is your time and this is your chance that if you believe that anything he is doing is a mistake or you think that there is a better way to implement it, you need to give feedback. I'm pretty sure he has something in the Discord for you to give feedback. And besides that, you could also leave it down in the comment section below or you know, just discuss here live. I'm pretty certain since this has to do with a future Gamma update, Grok might end up watching this video because he has watched previous videos of mine that have to do with updates and changes. So, you know, this is a good time to kind of air that feedback. Okay, so here's a suit that I actually use a lot, the IBAZ suit. I typically like to use it on the road in radar up to the Brain Scorcher because of the mutants you can run into. So let me compare this real quick and see how this has changed. So the IBAZ loses 4 BR class, which is going to hurt even more since BR class doesn't matter as much anymore. And then you're losing 1% to the ballistic resistance. Okay. However, you are gaining 4% movement speed. And you're losing at least 1 artifact slot. It goes from 3 to 4 to 2 to 3. Okay, so let's look at Proto Exo real quick. So it's a fabric plus an exo, which means it is the, like, wait, it's a fabric? Okay, is that correct? Because if it's a fabric, then that means it is super light and super fast. It has high mutant protection, but like no ballistic. Wait, huh? Okay, so comparing the two, it has 1 more BR class specifically for the duty one, and then it has -1 to the ballistic resistance, which I guess is okay. And it says 5 to 7 artifact slots. The current one, for example, the duty one, in-game currently has 4 + 1, so that's 5. So 5 to 7. Proto Exos can have 7 artifacts depending on which one. Or sorry, 10% more movement speed. Holy crap. Okay, hold on. Proto Exos are actually looking a bit interesting. 10% more movement speed. 7 has always been the case. I think Mono Proto can get 8. Are you sure about that? I'm pretty sure Mono... Here, I'll check real quick in game, but I don't think it can it? You are right. It can get 7 already. Monolith specifically can get 7. I wonder if that's going to stay the same, though. In my opinion, not all... Thank Grox. I'm glad you're here, by the way. Not all armors should allow you to run and jump like John Wick. Fast armors have less defense. Big armors... Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's just my ADHD brain that prefers faster movement speed overall. But that's good to know. But yeah, it does make sense. It's just some of these feel like a huge... It feels like some of them have a lot bigger of a nerf to movement speed compared to the bonuses that are being given. But maybe that's just how I feel about it. I could be wrong about that. I did not even consider the current values in game. Oh, you started from scratch. Okay, so that's good to know, actually. So these are just completely wiped from the beginning. So comparing them is kind of pointless then. Agreed, Psy isn't too strong in the game. Controllers can die relatively easily. The last time I died to Psy was when I loaded into Dark Valley from garbage, and there was literally a controller in my face as soon as I spawned in, and I stupidly tried killing it instead of running away through the load zone. And then before that, I can't even remember the last time I died to Psy. So maybe it's a more common thing than I'm thinking. You know, maybe I just have way too many hours in the fucking game or something. Wait, have I not been paying attention? Barter system rework. Oh, but it just didn't leak the testers channel info. Okay. The armor exchange system will be removed. Armors will be able to trade for a combination of items. That's interesting, actually. I think that's fine, too, because I personally have not gotten much use out of the armor exchange system, personally. Are you changing anything to do... Oh, well, you did mention the pelts being able to give you higher caps, because I was just about to wonder about, for example, the Ruby suit being able to give you 80%. Are you still capped at 65% until you get either artifacts or a pelt? So consider changing the caps of armor to elemental resistance, but the issue is that elemental dot code is bugged at the moment. Okay. Don't tell them about the PPSH. I think it's a little bit late for that. I think it's known how much I love the PPSH and how good of a fucking gun it is. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for me making YouTube videos, I think I would start with PPSH every single time just because of how good it is. Like, I don't see a reason not to, honestly. One thing that isn't listed yet, as we can see on here, is the carry and the weight. I'll be curious to see with these metal armors, how much heavier are they? Because obviously, if you're wanting us to carry 2 different armors, we're probably going to want to have a lighter weight armor on us for the regular day-to-day stuff. And then when we're actually doing combat, have a metal armor that's heavier. But I wonder how much heavier. Also, do notice that radiation resistance will be harder to build in general with the new armor values. Okay. The ace suit over here with 35% and then 30% on the hybrid. I think I'm still going to enjoy using the hybrid. I think... carry and weight will mostly be untouched because I think the current values are good. Some armors will receive a buff to carry capacity, like NBC, for instance. Okay. Now that guns are mentioned, any changes we can expect for the PPSH? No, don't ask him that. We need PPSH to remain the most OP freaking starter gun, period. That everyone shit talks, and then as soon as they use it, they say, oh, never mind, this is actually a really good gun. Yeah, I like where the PPSH is at the moment. Let's go! PPSH stays the same. Oh, COD, yes, dude. COD 2 with the PPSH. Let's go. Okay, yep. All right. Let's go. I might increase the PPSH cost and starting loadouts at all. Yeah, I mean, I could understand that. I think that would honestly be fine to do. Because as it is, it does kind of, at least to me, feel kind of really strong, but I feel like that might just because I use it all the time. But yeah, I think that would be a fair thing to increase. 1,000 for a Mosin is huge for how it. Yeah, I do agree with that. People have been wanting me to use a Mosin recently, for random you know, whenever I start a new character, like, yeah, you should use a Mosin. And I'm like, dude, if I choose a Mosin, I literally can't choose anything else besides like a mask, you know? Like, I can't get even the basic armor. Making Mosin 700 will make people only pick the Mosin. Really? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. I've never thought of the Mosin as like, oh, like, yeah, if it was like really, really cheap, like even below 700, then I think it would make sense. But at 700, I still don't feel like that's. Yeah, I feel like I'd still pick, yeah, PPSH or MP5. I feel like the Mosin, especially, well, okay, I gotta remember, I played the game in a very fucking different way than most people do. Hold on, let me recorrect my mind, because I'm like sitting here thinking this as like someone who only does one life constantly, and like to me, I'd rather have a different gun than a Mosin for one life, but like I'm sure obviously doing a normal playthrough, a Mosin would not actually be that bad of a decision to go with. Consider adding a system, adding spatial anomalies in the north that make you rerun the Brain Scorcher and Miracle Machine with juicy rewards. So like kind of doing a rerun of everything. I thought that was actually interesting. Like going through I guess you could say a time anomaly or something, like the bubble anomalies that are in. Honestly, Brain Scorcher would be so much harder if all the enemies were randomized to begin with, because currently Brain Scorcher, I haven't. Oh no, I did die to one. I did die to one relatively recently, but that was because an anomaly spawned in my fucking face when I was running down the hallway, which was really funny. I've always found Brain Scorcher to be quite easy because if you know where the NPCs are and how many there are, it's really difficult to die to them. Hey, Grok said he's going to get rid of that chemical anomaly in the raw stock doorway. Yeah, I've always noticed, by the way, that's the reason I don't use that shortcut. I never use that shortcut with the freaking map edit mod, right? To run through there, because there's always a chemical anomaly there, and it's like, bro. All right, and that was it. So how did you guys enjoy this video? So overall, I wasn't expecting Grok to hop in out of nowhere, but I'm glad he did so that he could have clarified some of the changes and things that I was asking. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.